future, talk radio will actually educate, inspire, and make you think. The future is now. Topics and music that affect your life from Universal Broadcasting Network. Tune in at ubnradio.com.
And greetings and salutations, everyone. You have once again tuned into Dr. Judy WTF for What the Freud. I'm your host, Walt Lusk, and of course we have Dr. Judy Rosenberg in the house as well. And we are continuing our series and show from last week on, what are we calling this? Sibling rivalry.
Well, family dysfunction,
yes.
Triangulation, and how it creates sibling rivalry.
Yes, torture,
family disconnect.
And torture by triangulation. And it's a call-in show, and I think we've already missed one. And the number is area code 323-843-2826. That's 323-843-2826. I know there were a couple of you last week that tried to squeak in, and we just ran out of time. Mm-hmm. And if you are international, you can call us on Skype at UBN, for Universal Broadcasting Network, UBN Radio number 2. And you can catch us on Stitcher, iTunes, Google Play, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, and of course YouTube. And you can watch us live on UBN as well, ubnradio.com, and on YouTube. And you can comment. We've got a fabulous one of your associates, Dr. Irene, on there to comment. So
chatting it up
with you.
Yeah.
So don't be shy.
So I want to start by presenting the mind map system, because it's through this lens that we're going to do our analysis on systems gone wrong. And many of you have watched so many episodes. It's quite incredible when I get calls and the call sounds something like, Dr. Judy, I've watched about 30 episodes. So obviously a lot of you know how to think like a shrink. So we're going to polish that up even more. And so, Walt, if you would be so kind as to put that mind map up there.
And we're at drjudywtf.com if you are listening.
And the mind map is designed to heal human disconnect. It is also designed to show you a pathway through which you can see how wounds of childhood embed, encode, and then create what I refer to as the WTF, which is the name of our show, which stands for
What the Freud.
What the Freud. And that's the repeat pattern. And why is this all happening is because from a family systems point of view, families are disintegrating. And so when mother and father are no longer captain of the ship, so to speak, captain of the relationship, and there's no integrity to the family structure, somebody's missing, a major missing, a parental figure is missing, what happens is that a lot of chaos is created. And just like the song Rockabye Baby on the treetop,
Cradle's gonna rock.
Kind of reminds me of the cradle rocking and the baby falling, and the siblings being the babies, and so they're not going to fare really well in a horrible family structure. So I want to say that structures that are built out of a foundationally flawed foundation.
You say that backwards.
Yeah, let me say that again. If the foundation isn't correct, then everything's going to fall apart. So I want to bring up Sigmund Freud, one of my favorite doctors, very influential, obviously, in the title of the show, Dr. Judy What the Freud.
We even did a show earlier this year, in fact, it's January. We shrunk Dr. Freud.
We sure did.
That was a fun show.
And I think he rolled over in his grave a couple of times. I heard it.
Either that or he had a cigar.
Yeah, maybe that's what it was. And so what Sigmund Freud was saying is that people go through developmental stages, and one developmental stage is when the little girl falls in love with daddy, or the little boy falls in love with mommy. The first is called the Electra complex, and the other one is called the Oedipus complex. And this takes place early on, age, 3, 4, 5-ish or so. And of course, mommy is the first love object of the little boy, and daddy at that stage is viewed as competition. And opposite for a little girl. Little girl falls in love with daddy, and mommy's the competition. What happens in dysfunctional families is that the child wins the game, and this is not healthy. And this happens sometimes in cases where, let's say, the father's a weak father, father's absent a lot, or father even leaves. So what happens is the little boy ends up with mommy dearest, and he becomes the parentified child. And this parentified child has too much pressure on him, and mom consults him like a little husband.
Yeah,
it's like a little husband.
Yeah, we've talked about this in previous shows, and
Right.
he's a little adult, and it's one day, and one moment he's the kid, and another moment he's the adult. It's really confusing.
Too much pressure. So for a system to be healthy, I talk a lot about the nurturer needing to be nourished. So if mom is not being nurtured and nourished by husband or extended family, then she may lean on the child to do so. And this will create an unstable system. And then if siblings come along later, then she may lean even harder on that child, the primary one, who becomes kind of like her golden child, her parentified adult little husband.
Little man.
The little man. And then what happens with the siblings is sometimes the siblings are kind of like the kids of the kid. And it's just a real mess. So this is an example of a system gone wrong. And we're going to start integrating this information as to how some people become the golden child. Some people become the scapegoat. Some people become the lost child. Some people become
mascot.
The mascot, which is the one that, everything's so funny.
Makes light of everything.
Makes light of everything. So we've done a lot of episodes, and we're going to start integrating all this information, and hopefully this caller will illuminate some of the information.
Hi, you have called in. You're on the couch with Dr. Judy and Walt. Where are you calling from?
Hi, I'm calling from Denver, Colorado.
Colorado. And your name?
Hi.
Meadow.
Hello. Thanks for calling.
Nadell?
Meadow?
Okay, nice to hear your voice. Thank you for calling in. And so how does this topic relate to you, your life, your family?
Well, I appreciate you speaking with me, Dr. Judy. My issue definitely surrounds family manipulation, but not so much sibling rivalry.
Okay.
I definitely have a narcissist mother-in-law, which I've recently realized because she's very covert.
Okay.
I'd just love to hear some advice you'd have to offer as to how to deal with this, because it's definitely not someone that I can just stop contact with.
Okay, very good. Okay, so I just want to say something about the labels narcissist. I mean, they're very informative labels. Obviously, we use them in titles. Again, I just want to explain to the audience and to you, these are systems gone wrong. If somebody is acting in a narcissistic way, that means that they're using narcissistic defenses of demeaning, devaluing, destroying. There's a basic lack of empathy. There's a basic sense of entitlement. These are some of the features. So does that kind of ring true when it comes to your mother-in-law?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We're going to expand upon that a little bit later in the show. I got a lot of narcissistic stuff.
Okay, so what's happening? What's the manipulation? How are you triangulated in this? Describe a little more, and sure, I'll throw in my advice on this one if I can.
Well, my husband is definitely the quote-unquote golden child. He does not have any siblings, so he definitely can't do any wrong in her eyes, I guess, except hearing me. I can tell you one of the first things she said to me as soon as she was able to get me alone was, why are you here? Why aren't you at work?
Oh, wow.
So did you
Wow.
not say to her, "Well, I'm here to make sure that you divorce your son so that I can marry him"?
Did you get the memo?
So did I want to know, did they officially get a divorce or not?
This was when I'd been living with my husband. We actually didn't get married until we'd been dating for 10 years. But yeah, and I just told her, well, I'm here to spend time with you and to get to know you because you're the mom of the man that I love. So.
And so
Oh, man.
I take it that her transference to you, meaning her initial projections onto you, her initial, I call it the cracked lens of perception, because clearly the way you're describing it, she perceived you as a threat to the bond. So there was you think, right? Okay, so it sounds like there was an over bonding between mother and son, and you came right in between there. You
Messed it up.
You messed it up. And she wasn't happy about it, and she was going to glare at you and intimidate you and make sure that you guys were not going to get together. And in a sense, it sounds like she was pretty successful because it took 10 years for you to tie the knot. Do you think that she had anything to do with it?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
I was really young when I met my husband. I was only 18, right? So we both wanted to wait until we were old enough and secure financially and both had steady jobs before we did so.
Okay.
But there was never any commitment issues or anything like that.
Okay. And what did your husband, or at that time your boyfriend, fiance, say about his mother's behavior and coldness and maybe rejection of you?
And, I of course mentioned her treatment to him. And he, is kind of wants to be ignorant to it because it's never done in his presence, right? She's extremely about how she confronts me.
Very covert.
And what did you say to him about what you noticed about their relationship, if anything? Did you mention it?
These details only just really came to light. I've always known that she's been kind of a nasty, sad, lonely individual, right?
Where's her husband? Where's his father in the picture?
Yes, very much so. But he did become ill with Parkinson's disease, and he passed away last year.
I see.
She had her personality did improve while she was caring for him, but ever since he's passed, she's just reverted back to
okay.
the way
So
she was.
tell me, what was your question? What advice would you like me to give you on this family dynamic?
In the interest of my husband, I have to spend time with her from time to time.
Sure.
And so I was just wondering if you had any advice to give in order for me to help to remain in the relationship, right? And basically be able to survive it, if that makes sense.
Okay, so you're saying how should you behave so that you don't really alienate your husband and put him in an awkward situation? Is that what you're saying?
Right.
Okay, so I would keep it light. Understand that she's getting older, and maybe she won't be around for too long. And what does your husband want you to do? Is he complaining that you're not nice? Is he complaining that he's monkey in the middle? What is he saying to you?
He's saying that she's just the way that she is. He basically just wants me to endure everything that's going on. Obviously, she cannot be changed, right?
Okay.
And he never does any of this stuff while in his presence, right? And so he has nothing to base my complaints on.
Okay, so I would say that to mitigate the damages, you kind of want to park yourself in a very neutral spot. Of course, if it's interfering with your marriage privately, then you have to draw some boundaries, and then use my Peaceful Healing Dialogue, which is on the website, drjudywtf.com under form section. You can pull it down and get that Peaceful Healing Dialogue, because you need to preserve your marriage. Number one, it's about you guys. Now,
Yeah, it does say somewhere along the way you have to leave and cleave.
right. So she doesn't know how to leave him, and I don't know, maybe he's a little enmeshed with her too. So what you want to do is, I call it conversations that revolve around objects. Oh, how's the dinner?
The
Did you see
weather.
that great movie the other day? Weather's nice today, isn't it? So I wouldn't go
Very light.
into personal subjects. I would keep it conversation light. I would do touchstone obligational visits like birthdays, holidays, Mother's Day, and just stay in the polite zone, and then understand and do not take it personally that she doesn't like you. It's not you. It would have been anybody. She doesn't like your position. Okay, so I hope that helps. I know we have another
Yeah, we've got a couple
caller.
people trying to call in.
So,
thanks for that. And the word which you've done very well is boundaries.
Boundaries, right. Thank you so much for calling in.
Thanks, Meadow.
I
God
really
bless.
appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And you are on the couch with Dr. Judy and Walt. Thanks for calling.
Hi, this is Heather.
Hi, how you doing?
Hey, Heather.
I'm pretty good. How are you guys?
We're
Fab-
good. We're
fabulous,
good. Nice to hear
fabulous.
your voice.
My phone's about to die, but I have a couple of questions. I have 6 brothers and 1 sister, and we weren't all living together all at one time, so it was divided equally in the middle, and I was the girl on each side, so they treated me, well, different than the boys. And I guess the question is, I was opposite. You were talking about like the Oedipus complex and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I fell in love with my mom, not my dad.
Your mom,
at all,
okay.
Really. So, and I sort of took that role of like being in charge, even though I was younger than my older 2 brothers. I was the one that was the responsible one, taking charge, make sure that my mom leaned on me a little bit. So,
Okay.
so I don't know. What does that mean?
Well, it might have been, it's okay, more details needed, but in general, it sounds like you were protective of your mom, that you said
Yeah.
that they didn't live with you at the same time the other siblings did or did not.
Yeah. So
Did-
there was like 4, like in one household with my dad and my stepmom. It was my 2 older brothers, me, and my 2 younger brothers. Then when I was living with my mom and my stepdad, it was they moved like halfway through, so it's kind of weird. So it was my 2 older brothers and my 2 younger siblings. One of them was female. That was the last one that was born.
Well, one thing I'm
And
hearing is
so I was in the middle
right. Okay.
at all times.
Right. So there's a lot of family changing of and maybe what you sensed your mother needed was camaraderie, and so you cleaved to her, and maybe because of that it was tough for you to bear the burden of so much, because as a kid you're supposed to be a kid, right? And probably didn't have much of a childhood because there was so much going on, so much confusion, so many divorces and
There
step
was
this and step
sibling
that.
rivalry.
Okay.
There was a lot of that. But
Okay.
it wasn't, I don't think that, my parents weren't around, so they didn't create it, so, I mean, they'd be gone.
But wait,
So it'd
back
be-
up
yeah.
for I don't mean to interrupt you, but I want you to see
go
something.
ahead.
Your parents did create it, because if they weren't around, then in the eyes of the siblings, love was really rare. So it's kind of like if
Right.
you throw a steak at a family and you say,
Right.
well, here's a little steak and there are 6 mouths to feed, so everybody's going to start grabbing at it. And so the little
Right.
that was a rare commodity, and it created rivalry. So whenever we hear of sibling rivalry, it's an example of parents not foundationally forming a true, good, solid unit where the love is really available. So this is what
Yeah,
you were in the middle of, is a lot of chaos and a lot of foundationally moving parts, and parentified. You were the parentified child, and the kids were all over the place grabbing love. That was very rare. Right.
I wanted to ask you I wanted to bring up something else since it's on civil rivalry or whatever. That the household was very split, so I had two different upbringings. The environment with my mother was totally different, with my stepdad. But when I was with my stepmother and my dad, my stepmother, she painted a picture of me like I was a disease, like I was a plague. So anything that came out of my mouth, was a lie.
Okay, so
to the point where she told one of my counselors that came over with me, she told that counselor that my mother's parents killed themselves because they both had cancer, which I found out later when I finally decided to have connection with my mother when I was 23 and finally called her. That was a lie.
So speaking of family manipulation, you have to understand that everyone has their wounds of childhood and their core belief and their agenda. So if you don't fit your stepmother's agenda, again, you're a disease.
You're a threat.
You're a threat, and she's going to...
Oh, yes, I was.
Well,
she hated me.
Right. She's going to try to annihilate you. She's going to try to position you in some way where again, competition, family manipulation. She's manipulating your father, you, so that you're less valuable, less important, and that makes her guess what? Right? Okay, that makes her the center of attention. So when people don't get enough, they vie for that attention. It's really brutal. It feels very manipulative.
It was so sad because I had a connection with my younger brother. And it was her biological children.
It kills it off.
All of a sudden, she saw that, and it was just like she twisted everything, and all of my siblings looked at me with this, like I was a disease, like I was.
Okay,
like I didn't belong,
so look, we're gonna end because I know there's another caller, but I want to say this to you, Heather, and I know we're gonna talk because we talk. What I want you to know is that that's an example of the triangulation. Okay, so someone wedged between the two of you because it's all about killing off the love, killing off the connection, humanly disconnecting so that they can be the queen bee or the king bee or whatever, and love is rare. Love is real rare. So everybody only gets a little piece of it. So Heather, I know we will speak again.
Her phone died.
And it did die. Okay, so if you do hear me, I guess you don't hear me, but you see, everybody listening could really see all of what we're talking about is the triangulation and the manipulation. So thank you for calling in, Heather.
And you are now on the couch with Dr. Judy and Walt. Thanks for calling. You're calling from where?
Hello?
Hi. You're on the couch with Dr. Judy and Walt. Your name?
Hi, this is Ann.
Hi, Ann, and I see you're calling from California?
Yes.
Well, there you go.
That's correct.
And what's your question?
My question is basically, it's not about my brothers or sisters or anything like that, but it's about my relationship with my sister-in-law and brother-in-law.
Okay.
It's been going on for years. And sorry, that's my daughter.
I figured it was a little daughter or son back there. Okay, so what's going on with your sister-in-law and your brother-in-law? What are the dynamics? What's the disconnect? What's the problem?
We were close, this was like 10 years ago. And, I found out that basically she's been, behind my back, saying like lies and just basically making me look. It's a competition with me.
This is between your sister-in-law and your brother-in-law?
Yeah, my husband is married to the brother, and he married her, so she's like my sister-in-law. And my question is, like, how do I repair my relationship with her when all she does is just create
like lies and drama between the family. Like I can't even see the kids.
You
Or-
can't repair on
that's
something like
impossible.
that because her agenda is to create chaos and to annihilate you.
Yeah.
So
And
how do
lies
you-
and deceit are the modus operendi.
Right. I didn't quite get all the connections, but I'm just going to go forward anyway and say that when you have people who are damned if you do, they're creating a damned if you do, damned if you don't, you're going to get tripped up. So if you say, hi, let's be friends. I love you. I've always loved you. They're going to find a way to call you phony, or they're going to find a way to discount you anyway. So I would say stop trying. In order to have a relationship with somebody, there has to be some level of mutuality. Obviously, if you really want to try, you could find out if there's anything that you've said or done to hurt her. Beyond that, you probably haven't, but that's for you to take inventory on. So do a little inventory on yourself and ask yourself, have you done anything? And if you feel that you have, you can bring it up. But short of that, she's got an agenda.
See, the thing is, if you give her ammunition, you're in trouble.
Right.
And if you're aloof and if you're kind of not, just kind of there, but don't you're not there, but you're there, and you don't interact with her, then one of two things: you're not going to give her any ammunition, and she's going to ignore you, and so then you're going to be left alone. Or she may realize that you've drawn away, and at that point, she may approach you, because then it's on her terms, because you've withdrawn, and therefore she's either going to admire and acknowledge your withdrawal, or she's going to try and reach out to you. And either way, that's what I would suggest.
And how often do you have to see this woman?
Yeah.
Well, she's definitely part of the family. So every family event. The reason why she hates me so much is because her ex-best friend is now my best friend.
Oh, so she's
And-
jealous.
There you go.
This is a real common theme. Okay, so just to understand this, I'll try to describe it in an ABC way, okay? So A, B, C are friends, let's say, and then B and C have a falling out. Or let's call it, they have a falling out. So then it's going to impact the relationship between the other two parties left over. Okay, so if they have an alliance, then there's going to be a sense of betrayal, and so she's going to be very angry because from her perspective, there's been a betrayal. It's really, really hard when someone who you're not friends with, they are friends with. It's really, really hard for you to feel that you can trust them or they can trust you, and there's going to be an underlying sense of betrayal. So I think it just is par for the course that she would feel that way. So I think just acknowledge that in your mind. It's not it's not a win-win situation.
No, you're stuck between a rock and a hard
I tried
place.
to talk to her about it, like saying, you both had a fallout. Me and you also had a fallout, but let's move on. It's been 10 years. Let's
Bury the
move
hatchet.
on. But alone, and she got her husband, my brother-in-law, to actually be against his own brother. So now, the whole family is just, it's torn apart. We have a wedding to go to on Sunday, and they're not showing up because we're showing up.
I was going to say, if things are such a mess, short of a wedding, why do you guys even get together? I mean, it doesn't sound like it's any fun or even any beneficial.
We try to get together, and then when we do get together, they give the fake, the hello, how are you kind of thing, and everything's fine. But when we're not together, we hear things from other people saying, I did something wrong, or I didn't say hello, or I was mean to the kids. They make up things for us to look like the bad couple, and then they're the victim all the time.
So what do you do with that?
They play the victim.
Right. What do you do with that? Minimum contact. Try to hold the gossip. Hold down the gossip and just kind of nod your head and
or shake your head.
Or shake your head and keep away as much as possible. And I wouldn't fight back or I wouldn't engage in it because sometimes when you just let it fade out, it's better than when you get embroiled in it, because when you get embroiled in it, that's exactly what they want. They want that energy. They want that battle.
Response. Any response.
Don't give it to them.
Yeah, no response.
Just walk away.
Yeah, like I said, just no response, the wither away, and you give them no ammo, and They're either going to leave you alone or they're going to pursue you some way, hopefully in a good way. But yeah.
They're going to pursue. They're like on this competition battle with us since, till tomorrow.
Right.
So it's just breaking because with my family, we don't have this. So with his family, I just like to have the family, tight, but I'm just trying to fix it. But I guess you're right. If I can't fix it and they have this.
You can't fix it. This is multi-generational. It's got too much history. Everyone involved has their own negative core beliefs and wounds. And so when you get people together, everyone's activating others' jealousies and positionings. And then there's manipulation and triangulation. It's a mess, okay? Just
and again,
away.
as Dr. Judy has talked about, it's like a goblet that's got a big crack in it. You could put everything you've got in that goblet and it's never going to be full. And they're never going to be satisfied.
Nope.
So save yourself, save your energy, and save your family.
Spare your breath.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So
thank you so much.
Thanks, Ann.
You're welcome, Ann.
Good
Thanks
luck.
for
God bless.
calling in. Appreciate it.
The last couple of calls I talked about, obviously, narcissism and such. I've got a deeper look at triangulation itself. And I thought we could break it down a little bit.
Sure.
The trademarks of triangulation are covert operation, deceit, and abuse. Have we heard that from any calls lately? Basically, the three that the narcissist tries is either to be the prosecutor, the rescuer, or the persecuted. And they rotate as which one they are, just to keep things just fun and interesting and up in the air.
Yeah.
So the persecutor, basically, what you need to understand is the narcissist is severely emotionally stunted and underdeveloped. And however mentally high functioning a narcissist appears, their emotional intelligence is anger and an irrational young child.
A rational young child. That made me want to sneeze. Sorry about that.
That's all right. They believe you are the psychological person acting out the atrocious behavior that they are the victim.
And this is arrested development because when we use the word narcissism, again, it's the outcome of an injury. And the injury is at the core of that person. They don't feel really good about themselves. So what they're going to do is they're going to build out a false self and build defense mechanisms that are going to make them look good or powerful or in control.
Adoration.
Adoration. And as I said earlier, systems that are built on lack of foundation and integrity will crumble. So their game is to make sure that you don't discover their game.
Well,
you don't discover their false self.
Then they're being very vulnerable. And so what the narcissist unconsciously tries to exercise these demons by projecting them onto someone else and then destroying that person and the wounds along with them, because at that point they're trying to destroy themselves.
So the best offense is, defense is offense, right? So if they keep other people on their toes and backing off and defending themselves, then in their world, it seems like their flaws are not going to be noticed because they have to keep their personality at bay from others. So it's a big game. It's a big mess.
It's a lot of work from a narcissist perspective, in my view.
And Walt, as you said, they're trying to vomit out, literally, they're trying to vomit out these bad feelings. So it's kind of like if you have a tummy ache and you have all this bile or, sour stuff in your stomach, you want to throw it up. And it's not going to feel better until all of it is up. The problem is it's never ending. It's never ending. So they might feel better for 2 minutes, but then they get that psychological bellyache again, and then they've got to do it again, and they feel better temporarily. That's the reinforcing effect, and then the other person feels horrible. And then away we go. It's the WTF ride once again.
Another that's been talked about in these calls is the weapon of deception. And my notes here say the ends always justifies the means. They're going to do whatever it takes. Narcissists are amoral. The end justifies the means. They are love and they're pathological liars. They are fully believe their own stuff. They believe their own lies. And they have righteous justification for telling these lies.
Well, at the core, okay.
We've got a call, but go ahead.
Go ahead.
Quick song. Hi, you're on the couch with Dr. Judy and Walt. Thanks for calling.
Hi, my name is Christine.
Hi, Christine.
And hi, I was just actually listening to what you were saying, Walt, about the whole thing you were just talking about the narcissism. And I have a mother who I have just now stopped having contact with, actually with my whole family, because my father's the enabler. And my mother does the same exact thing to me. She tries to convince all my siblings that I am angry, I'm moody, nobody wants to talk to me because she says all these things about me. And so now what I've had to do is, like I said, I've had to go absolutely no contact with my mother and my father and most of my siblings.
Well, first of all, if you're angry and moody from this model of putting on the lens, the cause of, and I'm not saying fault because it's multi-generational, the cause of the children's moodiness and upset is always the blueprint. And who's the blueprint of part one of your life? Is your family of origin. So unless you have had major interference by teachers and bullies and uncles and aunts who have really upset you, even then the parents are the cause because the parents are supposed to protect you, right? So one of my pet peeves is when parents hate the behavior of the children and they hate the behavior that they are the cause of, and then they punish the children, demean, devalue, destroy the children for the behavior that they caused. It's pretty crazy making, isn't it? Okay.
Yes.
So at that point, you have to, what you're saying is that, you know, you're being projected on. Your mother is blaming you for your moodiness. Is there any part of it that you could say, yeah, Mom, I can see where I could be moody, and what hurts me is blah, 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 like a kind of like a peaceful healing dialogue. Have you ever tried that with her?
Not so much. I mean, this was probably, a couple of months ago, and it basically has to do with when one of my sisters has a family function. I never get invited. It's a big mess. And then my mother will say, "Oh, I'm so sorry that you didn't get invited. Oh, I know exactly how you feel." She plays on my emotions, and she's like, "But you know, your sister, feels that you're very moody and angry and all this other stuff." And I'm like, "What?" And I should really go to my sister.
Yeah,
to
you
ask
really
her
Absolutely.
if it's true.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you
But
really
it's
need
just
to
that
do that.
rejection.
Yeah, you can call your mom on her BS right away.
So that's what I would do, is I would go to sister and ask her if that's how she sees things, and have that conversation with her. And everyone, remember, in these systems gone wrong, everyone has an agenda, and the agenda is to win somehow, to be the best, to be the most powerful, to be the most loved. And so you could see how this manipulation will, I call it narc out, try to eliminate certain people so that they can win the game and be the top dog. And so this kind of demeaning that sounds like she's doing to you is there's a design.
Oh, there
a
is.
design there.
And you never know what she's telling your sister about you.
Right.
And so she's trying to triangulate the three of you guys. And chances are she's saying wonderful things, quote unquote, about you to her. So if you can nip it at the bud and keep the lines of communication open with your sister, then that kind of neutralizes the situation.
Right.
Yeah, I've tried, but my mother's the only one that does this to me, and treats me with such, I can't even explain
I understand,
it.
but again, I'm
It's
trying to keep the
awful.
lines of communication up with your sister, because once your mom's gone, you're still going to have your sister.
Yeah. Well, I really don't have much of a relationship with her anyways, so.
Well, I think your mother was successful in killing that one off. She poisoned that one. And just remember that, again, her agenda seems to be working, and that she cut that relationship off. And that's what I mean by this triangulation and this manipulation, because it seems like now she has some sort of a gain by this process. And so you have nothing to gain by this process. And so did you say that you started backing away from her? Is that what you did?
I have not spoken to my mother for about 4 months. My husband and my 2 daughters and I have moved away, and I've had no contact with her since June.
Okay.
And,
how are you doing with
yeah.
that? How are you doing?
Am I what?
How are you doing with no contact with your mom?
Yeah, it's been hard, because I feel guilty and I feel like I'm a terrible daughter for having to do this. But I don't know what other way I can do this to function normally and to heal. And it's just very painful with, how she's been towards me for, a number of years. And I just cannot take it anymore. And I feel at peace on the other half with not having any communication with either of them, but it's really hard.
Well, you've set boundaries, and you actually acted on them, and that's a wonderful thing. And as I've said in many shows, you have to look out for number one, and that's you, yourself, your welfare, and your family. And so in both cases, you've done the right thing. No, it's not easy, but there we are.
And when you're grieving mom, you regress to that childlike state, and children always feel that it's their fault.
No,
so just be aware that when you're feeling guilty and shameful, you're in that little girl state of, Mommy, what did I do wrong? I must be a bad girl. Look, I'm not talking to you. So I think in some sense you have to be your own enlightened witness and have other people like me right now and Walt and your husband and people around you who say to you, you have every right not to embroil yourself in this situation. You have every right to pull back. I know we've been around the bend with contact, no contact. Again, I say case by case basis. And if you feel that it's too harsh to pull it completely, then you can have what I call that mild touchstone contact. Happy Mother's Day, happy birthday, anything that's light and not going to engage with this manipulation, triangulation. So thank you for calling in. I really appreciate it.
And lastly, don't shoot on yourself.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
It's easy to do. Yeah. Thanks for calling.
Okay,
God bless.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for calling in.
And you are on the couch with Dr. Judy and Walt. Thanks so much for calling. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Massachusetts.
Oh,
Hi.
good morning almost. And
Right.
what,
Thanks
your name?
for staying up.
My name is Macy.
Hi, Macy. Tell me a little bit about what you're calling about, what's going on in your manipulative family, your triangulated family.
Well, I have to just say that I just found you today, and since I did, I've been pretty much listening and streaming to everything I could find, and it's just been amazing. And to the last caller, what she said about having the peace, that really resonated with me, and thank you, because I'm dealing with it again in my life. I think that basically, like, my dad might be a sociopathic narcissist. My mom is definitely a narcissist. I didn't speak with her for 10 years. We've made up. I have a brother that I love, and we've always been really tight. And I've just had a huge falling out with my father. Kind of only just realized that I was a victim, where he just has been verbally abusive to me my entire life.
Yeah.
And I've never really seen myself as a victim. So it's been very difficult to, when all this stuff about narcissism came out like a few years ago, and I had a friend who went through it, I'm like, oh, bah, and she told me again, she's like, you've got to read this stuff. And I think I didn't want to know, and it's just, I'm losing my relationship with my brother.
Who wants to know this stuff? And there are two episodes that I want to point to. Effects of narcissistic mothers and fathers on their children. They're two different episodes. Yeah. Definitely
two shows
don't miss
each.
those.
2 shows each.
Okay. And so
I started with the father one. And
okay. All right. So
and by the way, I'm going to interrupt. I also have done a ton of research for every show. So if you want some backup material and some articles, just write us at info, or anybody else, info@drjudywtf.com, and I'd be happy to see. I've got anywhere from 30 to 40 pages of notes per show, so I do a lot of research and preparation to keep up with Dr. Judy.
I've been writing a lot of notes, but it's been hard to keep up with.
Most of the notes don't end up on the show, so I kind of boil it down. So if you want just and a lot of you have started to take me up on it, be happy to expose you to it.
So question, do you have a question? Do you have a specific question? Do you want to pick my brains? My brains brain. I think I only have one. Go ahead.
Basically, I'm a scapegoat. My brother's a golden child, but as a kid, he had like a lot of ADD, so I don't know if it resonates with the falling in love. It's just happening as adults. Let's see, what's my question? Specifically, I've just kind of cut off from my father. And my brother is so angry with me.
Sure.
Because I'm like, no contact is what works for me. If they're going to disrespect me, I have to leave. And he just is so angry that I'm putting him in the middle. Mm-hmm. And, I'm not. It's my parents that do. But when they divorced, it took 15 years. I was the oldest. I was in between them.
Okay,
I just realized that today. And I'm like, it's nuts.
It is. And
so
remember.
What do I do? Or is it...
Okay, so here's what you do. Number one, recognize that your parents are the cause. They truly are, and they leave you guys scrambling. Mm-hmm. Now your brother's angry at you, and your parents are the cause of putting you guys in this horrible position, and now you guys are squabbling because of them. So it's really important for you to know that it's because of them. Maybe your brother will listen to this show. That would be interesting.
Right. I've been taking like excerpts and the timings of things that they've done.
Okay.
So you've been busy. Like, wow. Thank you.
So look. I really have. So look, I want you guys to think like a shrink. So that's why Walt and I do these shows, so that you can start analyzing it down and get it that whatever system gone wrong went down with your family of origin, this is the fallout material, and now you've been positioned into golden child and scapegoat, and your brother's very angry at you because who he sees your parents to be is a completely different set of parents than who you see them to be. And so again, back to the cracked lens of perception. He's got one set of glasses on and he's going, are you crazy? These are great people. They love me to pieces. And then you're going, are you crazy? These people are narcissistic. They're abusive. And he's saying, no. But when people are treated as golden, they want to preserve that reality. So what you're actually representing...
He never backs me up.
No,
ever.
He won't, because he is tied to the bond. You see, the parents' bonds always win out. So they're going to cut off the sibling bond in order to preserve the bond between mommy dearest and son dearest, or father dearest and son dearest, and you're going to be kicked to the curb. So you're really playing with a very, very loaded deck. So what you do is that you recognize it and you don't blame him for it. You just understand that he's the fallout material of this horrible situation. And actually, if we dial it back, your parents are the fallout material of their dysfunctional families. And then you start having a macro perception of this and go, wow, this is sad. And then you take personal responsibility and you say to yourself, the buck stops here. I'm going to psychoeducate myself. And if you don't have a copy of my book, get one, because the book,
I'm getting it.
It's going to break it down for you. Because I literally panel 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, intricately broken down so that you could see the whole system and how it flows and how things get backed up. So what should you do? I think what you should do right now is what you're doing. Educate yourself, open your eyes, understand that you're both in a horrible predicament, and then that from both of your views you have different parents. And your brother is not going to say, you know what, sis, you're right. Our parents are so screwed up. I'm on your side. Don't expect that to happen.
He does sometimes.
Oh, he does? Interesting. Sometimes. Okay. That's interesting.
Well, yeah, it kind of flips a lot. He can't handle it anymore. When it's happening to him, it's fine. We also have, like, a narcissistic, crazy, like, stepmother who he's also the golden child, too. Like,
wow, double golden.
Jeez. 3 other kids.
He should go to Vegas. He's really lucky.
I know.
Oh, that's funny.
It's intense.
And reach out to me, reach out to the team, and those of you.
I was trying to figure out what kind of therapy I could find, and it's just a godsend.
Thank you for finding us, and thank you for taking the initiative to pick up the phone and call.
Yeah, and seriously, the team is wonderful. We do things in 10 sessions in follow up because it's a mind map course. Okay, and just for everyone to know. Okay, heads up, I'm just finishing.
The other one
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, go
I
ahead.
mentioned that I also did the hypersensitive person.
Yeah.
Oh, HSP,
person. I was listening
hyposensitive
to that,
people. Yeah,
and
we
that
did 2 of
is
those.
So me, and it was so right on. It was like I have all of that. It's just been like, oh, it just explains so much.
Well,
So
please
thank
order
you.
please
Thank
order
you
those
so much.
notes, Macy, because
I will.
there's a lot of questions and things that will either resonate with you and go, oh my gosh, that's me.
Yes.
So write me and I'll be
Yeah.
happy to send you those notes for
Yeah,
sure,
it's
and the other stuff too.
Wow.
And it's really
Thank you both so
remarkable.
much.
You're welcome. It's
Sure.
remarkable.
Yeah.
Thank you for calling in. I just wanted to say, isn't it remarkable when people start opening their eyes and they start seeing things from a different
I've
perspective?
been feeling my heart open and lighten up all day as I've been listening to you. It's been just an incredible experience just to have
thank
a
you.
kind of an understanding at all. So bless you. Thank you for your work.
Thank you
Well,
so much for your
one
kind
bite at a
words.
time, because you found us as a resource, which is
Right.
fabulous. But you'll be drinking from a fire hose, so just one bite,
Yeah, I
one,
know. I think I have to stop now.
one. It's midnight.
Thanks, Walt. It's true.
It is
a lot
true.
of information.
It's midnight. It'll be there tomorrow. We'll send you the notes. You can digest it. So,
Wonderful. Thank you both so much. Have a great evening.
well, hey,
Have a
thanks for
great
calling.
evening.
God bless.
Take
Call
care.
again. Yes, the fire hose that she is, Dr. Judy.
The plethora of information.
Oh, yeah.
And just heads up for the audience, I'm in the middle of editing and conglomerating a video that I was busy producing about a month ago. I took a major leap of faith here and put together the 9-panel mind map
In video form.
hosted by me, and it's going to be out really soon. We're going to be pre-promoting it, and you can get a major discount if you pre-purchase it.
And there's even Dr. Judy even interacts with the patient.
We have a
all-
case study.
Case study
Yes, thank you.
on there as well. Just kind of give you an idea of heads up of how it works.
And the cool thing about it is that you can have this video, you can rewind it, you can do
watch
it in
it.
the privacy of your own home. It's a lot less expensive than having me do the therapy with you on a one-on-one basis. And what's even more wonderful about it is that any time during that video, if you want to enlist the help of one of my team members, including me, you can just do that video and then have one of the team members process your feelings.
And you've got the double
with
whammy.
you.
You've got Dr. Judy and the team.
Right. So you can have part of it as a live and part of it in video and then go back over it. And it comes with the book. It comes with the mind map. It comes with the mind map journal. And so those are some of the goodies. And I know it's time to shrink that too.
And it is time. Gosh, thank you so much for all the calls, folks.
Yes,
and
very
it's always
appreciated.
a thrill and an inspiration. The aha moments that people have and the lives that we're changing. I'm the one that actually goes through most of the comments on YouTube, and sometimes I just sit there and read, and my mouth's hanging open.
Yeah.
And the thousands of hours, tens of thousands of hours that you guys are watching this
Thank
every
you.
month is just mind-boggling all over the world. And I know Judy just got another patient in another part of the country, so a world. So the family is growing. We're going to do a song called Shrink That Tune, and this one is called All These Lives by Doughtry, Doughtry, Doughtry. Don't come down when she calls. It's time for breakfast. Mama can't get down these halls fast enough to see. Glass is sprayed across the floor. From the broken window, she can't breathe anymore. Can't deny what we know.
Well, first of all, it sounds like a very unresponsive mom. She doesn't come down when it's time for breakfast, and she's dysfunctional. She can't even get down those halls. Maybe she's drunk. That's his first thought.
Be.
Fast enough to see glasses sprayed across the floor. Is there a little domestic violence going on here? This sure sounds dysfunctional. And then the writer of the song is saying, we can't deny what we know. In other words, we're not blind. We're not going to deny this, and we're seeing it. We're in it.
Here's the kicker. They're going to find you. Just believe. You're not a person. You're a disease.
Oh my God, I love that line because it's so multi-generational.
There it
So
is.
now they're seeing their family, maybe their mother, as they're seeing her as a disease because she's passing down I call it the psychovirus. So
All these lives that you've been taking, deep inside my heart is breaking. Broken homes from separation. Don't you know it's violation? It's so wrong, but you'll see. Never gonna let you take my world from me. The world outside these walls may know you're breathing, but you ain't coming in. You ain't coming in.
Such a wise song, because this person is trying to draw boundaries and say, look, you may be really diseased, and I'm breaking inside, and the family separation and the whole collapse of the system is definitely affecting this songwriter. But at the same time, the song is about you ain't coming in, you ain't coming in. So they're trying to guard that sacred space called the self, the I in there.
Posters hang on building walls of missing faces. Months go by without the cause, the clues or traces.
Geez, so maybe some of it is so subterfuge without the cause, the clues or traces. So, we play psychological detective and somebody's hiding all these clues, but not enough to have them not be noticed.
Yeah. They're gonna find you. Just believe you're not a person. You're a disease. All these lives that you've been taking, deep inside, my heart is breaking. Broken homes from separation. Don't you know it's violation? It's so wrong. You'll see. Never gonna let you take my world from me. The world outside these walls may know you're breathing, but you ain't coming in. Shed the light on all the ones who never thought they would become a father, mother asking why this world can be so cold.
Wow, such a deep song. Shed the light on all the ones who never thought they would become a father, mother asking why this world can be so cold. So there's questioning going on. What the Freud is going on. Why is the world so cold? So broken.
Yeah. And then again, don't come down when she calls. It's time for breakfast. The memories begin to fall. She asks, when will I be free?
Well, she's not free because she's locked in the double dungeon of darkness, as I like to call it, multi-generational. So even though she might feel that she's trapped in her own self, she's got a lot of work to do to untrap herself.
And then we've got the chorus. All these lives that you've been taking, deep inside my heart is breaking. Broken homes from separation. Don't you know it's violation? It's so wrong, but you'll see. Never going to let you take my world from me. The world outside these walls may know you're breathing, but you ain't coming in.
Yeah, and then it repeats, and the theme is that even though there's all of this chaos and heartbreak and family crumbling going on, that person wants to preserve that sense of himself or herself and just keep that still alive and sacred.
And that has been a very full show today. Thanks so much for calling, for tuning in, for listening, for responding, for commenting. You can find us on Stitcher, iTunes, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, Google Play, and of course YouTube. This has been Dr. Judy WTF, or What the Freud. I'm your host, Walt Lusk, and of course with Dr. Judy Rosenberg, founder of the Psychological Healing Center. And this has been our show on torture by triangulation, family systems gone wrong. Mm-hmm. We will do this again next week, every Thursday at 8 o'clock here at UBN Radio Network. So we're going to close out with our song, and God bless everyone until.
And thank you for listening.